Find your way back home.
Alright, before this review thing gets started, I feel like I didn't do the best job kind of discussing this episode, watching this back while editing, and I wanted to share some other thoughts on it that I got from my mother, who actually had a lot more pondering about the episode than I did. And I agree with some of it, maybe not with all of it, but I still think that it's worth sharing because she made a lot of valid points that I didn't really think about at the time that the episode ended. I was kind of weirded out by the way that it ended. I just thought it was odd because I was expecting a lot more, given that pretty much every other finale we've had, someone has died, whether on our side or another side. And we didn't really have that this episode. And that kind of threw me for a loop. But, so I'm going to read off some of the stuff that she said about it and just then kind of go into what I said about the episode immediately after it aired. So, she said, wow, not nearly as dramatic in some ways as the last episode, but this one left you with more to think about than the other one, in my opinion. I can see an argument for that, for sure. Carol, for example, has been able to live in this fairy tale fantasy. Her life before the king was anything but that, and now that Henry's gone, it's making her realize that her whole picture with, Henry, the king, the kingdom, and everything, it fell apart in last night's episode and the episode prior, and that shattered her fairy tale. So the king... This I'm not 100% sure if I agree with her on this or not, but I want to share it regardless because I can understand it, I guess. She said the king, he was threatened, I think, by Daryl because he saw the writing on the wall, and Carol hasn't been happy, and Daryl is safe. He's like a brother to her, and there's an unspoken bond, so the king wanted him gone. Now, I don't know whether I fully agree with that or not. I want to propose this to people. Just whether you've already left an angry comment or what, based on the way that I felt about those scenes, put it into perspective for yourself. Just humor me. If you were in Ezekiel's position, say you have a significant other, had a significant other, whatever, picture having raised a child with them for the last however many years. And whether this is in an apocalyptic scenario or not, imagine you just lost that child and no one really knows fully what you're going through except your significant other. And you want to cope with them, you want to grieve with them, you want to go through this loss and come out the other side together. And instead of finding comfort together, your significant other decides to go off with their single opposite gender friend that is a very old friend and seek comfort from them rather than their significant other that shared the loss with them. I personally can 100% understand why he would be kind of hesitant to be just fully okay with that. Whether he thinks there's something going on or not, I don't think that's the case. I think he almost feels betrayed or something along those lines because he and Carol shared that loss. And he wants to have someone that he can grieve with. And she's just essentially just leaving him to grieve on his own and going to seek comfort in someone else when really they should be grieving together. And that's kind of the way that I view it, I guess. But I'm going to go on. So, Mom said, Daryl, wow, was so impressed with Daryl. First, his hair is cleaner. I don't know about that, Mom. He's been very protective of Lydia, kind of like a sister or daughter. She said sister. I feel like maybe more like daughter. We'll see. It's finally like Daryl has his own person to protect. The last time he had that, it was Beth, and she died, so... and you're right, he hasn't had that in a while. I think it's hard for him to care about people because he doesn't want to lose anybody else. I understand that. Negan, hard not to like him after saving Judith and Dog. Completely. I liked him before that, but I agree. It's really hard to like... Like, if you still have that much of a vendetta against the man, I don't know what to tell you. You might just want to check out of the show because I don't see him ceasing to be a part of the show anytime soon. So if he really gets on your nerves that much that it bugs you anytime he's in the episode, you might just not want to watch anymore because he's not going to be taken out of the show that easily. JDM is a phenomenal actor with incredible range, and a redemption arc is not something that shows like this shy away from. It's a great storyline. And if losing people at his hands was too traumatic, I would be the first to say that I understand that, but it's just, that's not the way that the writers are doing it. So if that's really going to bug you that much, you might not want to watch. So she said, Negan hard not to like after saving Judith and Dog. Even Michonne realized that. That's what you gotta remember. Michonne even realized that. Under all of that, he's still unpredictable. I agree. Crazy Killer Negan, I don't know about that. So I'd be very guarded around him for sure. I don't think you need to be as guarded around him, especially in a time like this. Especially after his comment about... there's some autocorrect going on here that I don't know. It's something about a common enemy. He's just not the enemy. Okay, so yeah, I think she was referencing the scene where he said that people never think that they're the enemy, and she said something about he's just not the enemy now, LOL. I don't think he'll be the enemy again, to be fair. Lydia, poor girl, is lost and realizes or thinks pretty accurately at this point no one wants her around because they need someone to blame, and it is her. It is actually Henry's fault, though. He went after her. This is where we're going to get into disagreements, Mom. To be fair, I understand why Ezekiel's upset. He trusted Carol's judgment that Daryl was a good person to send Henry with, and Henry was essentially used by Daryl to get information from this unknown hostile or potentially hostile person from another group. And as a result, there was a connection formed because they're both teenagers, which is understandable that some sort of connection is going to be formed when he hasn't had much interaction with people his age. And that led to this whole spiraling clusterfuck that got him killed, essentially. And so, well, I don't think anyone is 100% at fault here. I think Daryl definitely should share some of the blame. Because if he hadn't used Henry for information, if he had just kept him out of the cell that night that Lydia was there, none of this would have happened. Henry wouldn't have gone after her. He might have not even met her or known about her. And while I prefer the way that it went down this way, because if he hadn't gone down there, they probably would have just executed a child in that cell, which I would have not been okay with. Okay, but continuing on, she accurately at this point, hold on. She tried to save him and vice versa. Tragic Romeo-Juliet story, never meant to be. I hope Carol and Daryl look after her. I'm not so sure I want that right now because Carol does not have a good track record with kids, and I don't want kids anywhere near her right now. So we'll wait to see what next season brings. Let's just say, for the record, Negan was nothing next to what Alpha is. She's got such a wrapped sense of reality. I think that was supposed to be warped sense of reality. Maybe, I don't know. And survival. Her need to hurt/kill everyone and anyone who brings out a single emotion in her is really just showing her true weakness, her fear of being alone, just like the rest of them. But she decided she won't let anyone near enough to see her weak or care for them because she thinks it will prevent the pain. I think losing Lydia pushed her over the edge. I can see that for sure. So, after getting all of these, I told her that I definitely didn't look into the episode as much as she did, but I definitely see all of her points. And she said, at first I said to your dad that wasn't very exciting, and it was kind of anticlimactic for a season finale. And my dad was like, yeah, there are no cliffhangers. But so then, they went to bed, whatever, and she stayed up till like 3 thinking about it. And she said, thinking Walking Dead is smarter than that. So she doesn't read the compendiums of the comics or anything. So she doesn't really know anything about the future stuff. And she said the scene with Lydia and the frozen walker and Carol walking up to save her was very emotional. Not many words, but lots of things unsaid. Does that make sense? Yes, it does, Mom. The icicle used to kill the walker was awesome. I agree. And she says, you've got me hooked. Well, I would hope after watching the show with you since October 31st of 2010, Mom, that you would be shook. I would hope that after watching the show with you since October 31st, 2010, Mom, you would be hooked. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching it with me. But, yeah. So I just wanted to share some of those because I thought that she brought up some points that I didn't really go into detail on. But, yeah, I don't want to add too much because I definitely want to get the episode out sooner rather than later. So, yeah. Enjoy the rest of my afterthoughts and discussion. Well, there you have it. That was the season 9 finale of The Walking Dead. That was a woman's voice on the radio, from what I heard. No idea who it is. Speculation. Who are we going to speculate? Hold up. I'm going to say either Ann/Jadis, or Maggie/Georgie, or the governor from Commonwealth. Ooh, or Althea. Alicia. That could be a possibility. You never know. I don't know if I have too much extra to say about this episode, to be honest. I definitely see that it definitely wraps some stuff up. Definitely preparing for season 10 and the future of The Walking Dead. But I'm not gonna lie, in terms of like finales, I don't know. I feel kind of bad, but like this was not nearly as good as most other finales. Now, I'm not saying by any means that it was a bad finale, but just comparing to like where others stack up. Well, okay, for me it was definitely better than the season 1 finale, for sure. Because I thought that the season finale for season 1 was actually really cliche, and the only thing that brought me back to season 2 was the trailer, but it was better than season 3's. Season 4, we had Rick in the train car, and you fuck with the wrong people. And then ripping Joe's throat out. Season 5 finale, we had the confrontation with Pete, getting Morgan back. Season 6 finale was... season 6 finale had one of the biggest cliffhangers of TV history. It could have been hands down the best episode of the series if they didn't cliffhanger it, but that kind of knocks it down a bit, so it's iffy. Up until the cliffhanger in 6/16, though, it honestly was, in my opinion, one of the best episodes of the series. Season 7 finale, I feel it left people feeling a bit underwhelmed. It was very action-packed, and I liked that, but after the build-up that we had through season 7, it was a bit disappointing of a payoff. It was just like a little teeny bit a taste of a battle. So I don't know. Overall, finale-wise, I definitely feel like it was nowhere near as hyped up and action-packed. I mean, the snow definitely added a lot to it. It was very different, very unique, something we've never seen in The Walking Dead before, and I really liked that. But, I don't know, a lot of the relationships just felt really weird and they just felt unnatural. Like some of the conversation with Lydia and Carol, like, I get Lydia feeling that way, but just, I don't know. The Carol Daryl stuff, it was just kind of irritating me because it felt so forced. I definitely agree with Brandon Davis though. Like when I was like looking at some of his tweets and stuff for like the non-spoilery stuff about this episode, he said it felt weird. And I definitely agree with him on that. This definitely felt like a weird finale. I don't know. The highlights of it for sure are the snow and Negan for me, and Cassidy. Oh my god, Cassidy was killing it this episode. For those of you that don't know, that's the actress that plays Lydia. She was killing it. I love her range. I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more of her, and I really hope we do. I just hope it's not like a her, Carol, Daryl family kind of thing. That would just really kind of bug me. Judith, I love Judith this episode too. Saving dog. Yeah, definitely the highlight of the episode for me at least was Negan, and Negan, Lydia, Ezekiel, kind of, the snow. The whole radio thing, I know a lot of people were theorizing it was going to be like really hyped up and stuff, and there was going to be some crazy stuff that goes on. The whole radio thing at the end was really underwhelming, to be honest. A lot of people are like, oh, Rick's going to come out on the radio, and he's going to be like, talking like, oh, you know, it's Rick Grimes. And I'm like, although that would have been really cliche, I would have enjoyed that much more than just some random person coming through static on the radio with no one around to hear it. That was, I don't know, that just, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like a, oh, what's going to happen next kind of thing. But, I mean, like, I'm going to watch it in October again anyway. So, I mean, I'm not really that, I don't know. It's weird. This definitely felt like a weird finale. I'm very torn about whether the Pike should have been the finale or not. Yeah, I can't really think of much else. I don't really have that much else to talk about with this episode, I don't think. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode. Do you think it was weird? Do you think it was a super, super awesome, amazing finale, or what? I found out, I overslept, like, super late today. I didn't know this, but apparently the Fear trailer dropped for Season 5. I'm not gonna lie, after Season 4, I was contemplating checking out, but I know Dwight's going to Fear now, which, again, that's kind of weird. He's in the main show. But if they change his arc in the show and give him a different arc the arc he had in the comics, if they don't give him that and it allows him to stay around longer, I'd really like that because I love Dwight as a character. So I'm excited to see him in Fear. Let me know what you guys thought about the episode down below. It was alright for me. Had its ups and downs, felt a little slow at points, but I was glad that they had snow finally. But, and I know I've said this time and time again, but highlight of the episode was Negan for me. Hands down. Yeah. Post your thoughts down below. And as always, come back if you are interested in checking out my reaction to the Season 10 trailer when it drops in June. I'm pretty sure it drops at San Diego Comic-Con, so I will set a date on my calendar for that. Make sure to get that up ASAP. So if you're only here for Walking Dead, I understand, but once Fear starts back up, I will likely be checking that out, as well as Game of Thrones, the final season, coming up in about 2 weeks now. 2 Sundays is when Game of Thrones, the final season, starts. Oh boy. Oh boy. Can't believe it's been 9 seasons of this show already. It's crazy. What else am I going to be doing? Once I graduate, I'm probably going to start doing more shows, but as of right now, Fear and the regular Walking Dead and Game of Thrones is probably it for now. Let me know your thoughts down below. Like I said, like 10 times already. As always, this has been Jack from Group of Gamers, Inc., and I'm out. Peace. Okay, I don't know if I like that it's slow-mo. I don't know whether to think it's badass or be nervous. Because he's kicking ass with his comic arc, man. Holy shit! Oh my god, there were like 9 or 10 of them! What do you want, Gabe?
Very mature attitude, father.
I fucking love it! No! Oh, even Eugene get a kick out of it. Jesus!